We got this story from Vox.com. A Trump judge ruled there's a Second Amendment right to own machine guns. Based. Because there is indeed a right to own machine guns. The Supreme Court's Bruen decision will keep on creating chaos until it's overruled. And so long as Donald Trump wins, I'm just going to pause real quick. This is why I want to insult those pro-lifers who are like, if you're not pro-life, you don't get pro-life votes. Like, dude, shut your mouth. This is about more than you. The gains made from the Trump Supreme Court for all of us have been so tremendous. Why don't you go whinge somewhere else and go fundraise off something else? Trump is not going to give you a golden ticket to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, okay? But he is going to sell chocolate, right? My point is this. You're not going to get everything you want, but the dude literally gave you a Supreme Court that overturned Roe v. Wade. Why don't you sit down and shut up and accept these massive wins? If Kamala Harris wins, our gun rights are getting taken away. She's going to pack the Supreme Court. They're going to overturn all of these decisions, and they're going to revert this country back to its hell state that it was in before Trump got these victories. Now, where was I? On Wednesday, a Trump judge in Kansas ruled that the Second Amendment invalidates criminal charges against a defendant charged with illegally possessing a machine gun. In the case, United States v. Morgan. Judge John Broome's decision in Morgan is obviously wrong, even under the Supreme Court's most aggressively pro-gun opinion, which Broome's relied on heavily. Vox, are you a news outlet or an opinion outlet? That's right. They're an opinion, and you're wrong. The Supreme Court says, the Constitution says, shall not be infringed. Nowhere does it say unless the rate of fire for the weapon exceeds, wrong. The federal government has no right to ban these weapons. And the morons in the Supreme Court, including Kavanaugh, who think they do, are wrong. Restrictions actually are allowed under the Constitution because we have a tradition. That's what they argue. A tradition of certain restrictions. Shut up. No, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. If you want to change it, amend the Constitution. But until then, you can't just take a dump all over our country because you don't like the rules. The Supreme Court's 2022 decision in the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruen cast a cloud of uncertainty over nearly all U.S. gun laws. Good. Requiring the government's lawyers to prove that any gun law challenged in court is consistent with this nation's historical tradition of firearm regulation. Judges across the country have struggled to interpret and apply that vague standard. And many of them have openly complained that Bruen is unworkable. Good. In their published opinions. Read in isolation, Bruen's vague historical tradition test might be read to support Broome's decision. But Bruen left in place a previous legal rule, first announced in D.C. v. Heller, which permits the government to ban dangerous and unusual weapons. Heller also includes a line stating that it would be startling to conclude that one of the court's early Second Amendment decisions invalidates the federal ban on machine guns, which it should. To get around Heller's conclusion, let me zoom in, actually, make it easier to read. To get around Heller's conclusion that the government may regulate dangerous and unusual weapons, like fully automatic firearms, dangerous and unusual, extremely common, actually, until they banned them. Broome's primarily argues that there were no laws similar to the modern-day ban on machine guns, either in 18th century England or during the period around America's founding. Of course, there's a really obvious reason why no actual machine gun ban existed in the 1700s. The machine gun wasn't invented until 1884. It's the stupidest thing in the world. These people are evil. Let me tell you. In the 1300s, they had multi-barrel cannons. Can I just pull this up for you guys? I'm going to pull this up. Maybe I can find a picture. Oh, look at that. Oh, okay. Let's try this one. This one. Ooh, Leonardo da Vinci drew this one. The Ribaldequin, known as a Rabald Randy Ribaldkin infernal machine or organ gun, was a late medieval volley gun with many small caliber iron barrels set up on a parallel platform in use in medieval and early modern Europe during the Renaissance period. When the gun was fired, multiple barrels discharged their projectiles all at once, yielding a much higher rate of fire than single barrel. Now I understand, my friends, that's not a machine gun, okay? But the founding fathers didn't ban multi-barrel rapid-fire volley cannons, okay? The ability to fire multiple projectiles at once existed in this era, and they did not ban these. If the argument is the machine gun is easier to make, then your argument is the founding fathers couldn't have banned handheld machine fire or something. I'd still argue volley guns existed. And they actually did have, I think in the 16th century, pistols with multiple barrels. Like it's so stupid because the idea is patently obvious. Just you Google these things, and they did the same thing way back in the day. What is this? A revolving 3-barreled matchlock pistol in Venice dated to 1548. During the late 16th century in China, Zhao Shizhen invented the Junlei Chong, a 5-barreled musket revolver spear. Around the same time, an earliest example of modern revolvers were made in Germany. Look at these pictures. I actually got to pull this up. These people are lying to you, okay? They had multi-barrel firearms way back in the day. Flintlock with 3 barrels. These things were semi-auto. But they actually had multi-barreled volley guns way back in the day. They didn't invent the machine gun until 1884. They had rapid-fire weapons back then, okay? I know they're not machine guns, but the founding fathers understood rapid-fire existed. That's just it. Y'all can stop lying. But let's get back to the story here. Brooms also argues that centuries-old English and early American laws merely prohibited people from carrying guns to terrify the king's subjects or in such a manner as will naturally cause terror to the people. And so the Trump judge suggests it is unconstitutional to charge someone with carrying an illegal weapon unless the defendant also takes the same weapon out into the public streets and displays it in an aggressive manner. Taken seriously, this reasoning would also prohibit the government from banning possession of a tank, a fighter jet, or even a nuclear warhead. My dude, those things are not illegal to own. Now, nuclear warheads are regulated. Fighter jets and tanks, I don't think. Okay, everything's got some degree of regulation, but you're allowed to own all of these things. So long as a civilian who obtains a nuclear warhead does not brandish it in public. Tell me, private entities own, control, and operate nuclear warheads at the behest of the U.S. government, right? In any event, Brooms' decision will appeal to the U.S. Court of Appeals in the 10th Circuit, a left-leaning court where Democratic appointees outnumber Republicans. The historical tradition test announced in Bruin has no real substance, cannot be applied consistently by lower court judges. So what? Shut up. You guys are evil, you're liars, and you want to ban guns, and you've got to change the Constitution. You can't do this. But I tell you, my friends, culture matters more. We can sit here and talk about winning in the courts, but they make it very clear. Democrat appointees outrank Republicans. That's all that matters. The hyper-partisan shift in this country, the hyperpolarization is exaggerated, and all that matters now is that the judges live in your cult. Republicans are going to say, look, you can't ban guns. Constitution says so. Democrats are going to say, we literally don't care. We're banning them because we can. Republicans won't exercise power. Democrats will. They say this chaos is likely to continue until Bruin is overruled. The history and tradition test announced in these cases provides lower court judges with no meaningful guidance on which gun laws are unconstitutional. All of them. And Bruin allows judges who are determined to reach pro-gun conclusions, no matter what consequences they strike down. So, United States v. Morgan. Let's click this. The matter before the court on defendant's motion dismissed based on the Second Amendment grounds. A response and reply have been filed. Tamori Morgan. Let's take a look. Who is Tamori Morgan? Let's look up the story. Let's see. Tamori Morgan. Is this, what is this? Is that him? What is this popping up? There's an image of stock photo. Does it say who this person is? I don't want to show the image until I'm for sure that I have Tamori Morgan, the defendant who is fighting for gun rights. I just see people talking about the person, not the person who got arrested. What is this one? Just women with machine guns. So I can't find an image of the defendant. So I don't know. Maybe there's a story here. No. Can't find an image of the defendant. All right. This is big news, though. I'm really excited to see this. And I hope that in the end, Hunter Biden wins. I hope Hunter Biden files a lawsuit over the gun form and argues that being required to state that he was a drug user is self-incrimination and violates the U.S. Constitution. And then when he does, they'll get rid of those forms as well. In the United States, we have a constitutional right to keep and bear arms. Some guns and some weapons are probably too dangerous for single individuals, like nuclear warheads and biological weapons. If you want to change it, you're going to have to amend the Constitution. By all means, you can try. Until then, you don't get to just make laws that overwrite and supersede the Constitution, though they do every day. Maybe we'll see a victory in this one when it goes to the Supreme Court, but I'll leave it there. Next segment will be tonight at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. Thank you all so much for hanging out. We got a bonus segment today. Smash the like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show. You can follow me on X at Timcast. And I'm going to wrap it up there. So thanks for hanging out, everybody. And we will see you all tonight.